So, the Japanese website for Black Clover has the names and the descriptions of all the abilities for the characters that have been announced so far. And if we look at those descriptions and at the same time at the gameplay trailers that have already been released, we can figure out a lot of the playstyle of what these different characters will be like. And today we're gonna dive deep into Asta. He's the main character, is the most natural starting point. These are the announced characters. It seems 17 will be the final count at launch, and 10 of them have already been announced. Which one of these do you want to see a breakdown for next? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, let's dive down into his abilities. Here they are in Japanese, and boop! Here's the translation. A lot of this stuff is translated by a Twitter user, the Theorist Collector, who just sent me this stuff. I didn't ask for anything, so big thanks for doing this out of nowhere and without anyone asking. Like, these translations did help out a lot. But I also interpreted some of the translations myself, so if there are some mistakes, blame me, not him. Asta's primary attack is pretty much just attacking with his swords. It seems to be a simple 5-strike combo, and keep in mind that this is a melee attack, which may look obvious, but at the same time, a lot of this game is going to be ranged attacks, because most characters are able to do magic. The main character, Asta, he's not, so that's why he attacks with his swords. So having your primary attack being a melee could be a downside, but at the same time, the Asta character trailer shows us that Asta is able to move really fast and even run on walls to close in the distance. And what also might help you close in the distance is his secondary attack, which is actually a defensive ability. Asta can block magical attacks and absorb them. Now, it's unclear if you can just block the whole time. It seems a little bit broken if you could just be like blocking the whole day, the whole match. Or maybe it's just a directional thing where in a 1v1, Asta is not going to have any trouble playing against a character that has ranged attacks, but if he's against more than one opponent, one of them might flank him and then he's in trouble because he can only block attacks from the front. But anyway, this ability not only blocks attacks, it seems that it's also able to absorb them, and he can store them to unleash them later. And he unleashes them by pressing the button of this next ability, the next attack we're going to look at, which the translation is a bit rough, but let's try to break it down. First of all, you can only absorb one attack, and the attack that you unleash isn't exactly the attack you absorbed. For instance, if Asta absorbs Yuno's wind attacks, he's not gonna unleash a wind attack as well. He's always gonna unleash this red sword swipe thing. And this projectile is what's gonna come out no matter what you absorb. And again, you can only store one at a time, so after you unleash that, you're gonna have to go back into absorption mode, or you're just not gonna have any ranged attacks. You can still use this attack to nullify traps and other magic that might be on the field. I believe that's what we see in the Asta trailer, because that's the exact same motion that he does with the sword, but no projectile comes off. Anyway, this ability was a little bit tough to translate, and therefore it's hard to fully understand it, but hopefully you'll leave this video with some vague idea of what it does. Next, Asta has a spinning slash, and we've also seen this one in the Asta character trailer. It's pretty straightforward. Asta will lunge forward a decent amount and do this spinning attack that catches every opponent in range, and it also seems to deal a decent amount of damage. And finally, we have his ultimate attack, which isn't just a simple attack. We've seen it in the Asta character trailer, and as you can see, Asta will attack the opponent 3 times. He can jump from opponent to opponent like he does in this trailer, but if there's no one else around, I guess the same guy will take the 3 hits. And each one of these hits is gonna deal a ton of damage, but damage isn't all there is to this ultimate attack. Asta will also regenerate a lot of health. It will recover up to max health over a short period of time, and on top of that, he also gets a speed buff, which seems to be perfect for all of his other attacks. Since a lot of his attacks are melee focused, having a speed buff is just perfect to close in that distance. And that's the moveset for Asta. He's a pretty straightforward character, and I think we all expected that. Him not being able to use magic, we all expected this loadout to be melee focused. The big question is how easy will it be to get close to the opponents once the game finally comes out. But the game plan seems very, very straightforward. It's usually just get in close and deal a lot of damage. And to get in close, you're gonna use his mobility, you're gonna run on walls and block projectiles, because only after you get close will you deal the damage you want to deal. You've only got one ranged attack, and you don't have it all the time. You need to absorb attacks before you're able to unleash it, which makes it not the most reliable ranged attack. Getting in close is Asta's plan. And then his ultimate attack, I really believe we've already seen one of the best ultimate attacks in the game. I know it's our first breakdown, but this ultimate attack just does everything. Like, it regenerates health, it gives you a speed boost, and it deals a ton of damage. There are a ton of different scenarios where this ultimate attack could be used. So I really believe this might be one of the best ultimates in the entire game. So, which character do you want me to break down next? Let me know in those comments down below. And last time around, we broke down Treasure Hunt, which was the latest game mode to have been announced. You can check out that video right here. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name's Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!